What's your name and what do you teach?
My name is Stan. I'm teaching STEM, sciences and technology for engineers, all sorts of topics for engineers, but also some aspects of business, since I'm a business consultant since '95. And I'm teaching, so to say, I'm coaching and training technical engineers, pure technical engineers into business engineers, specifically in sales and in pricing. So it's mainly B2B companies. It's actually only B2B companies dealing with technological products, technical products such as sophisticated machines, etc.
It's a bit of a mixed bag in some senses, like a lot going on in there. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a bit wide in my yes.
We like that. We like that. Where did you study?
I studied in the city of Liège in Belgium. In the Department of Engineering, and specialized in nuclear engineering. So I'm basically a nuclear engineer. I've been working 3 years in that science. In that aspect.
What was your favorite childhood book or story?
It was actually The Iron Heel from John Reed. Mm-hmm. And also another book, I don't remember the name. It was about his life, and I liked it very much. But also Three Children of Summerhill. I read it in French, but the book was, has a big influence on me on teaching. I liked it very much.
Why do you love your subject?
Well, because I think they're essential in life, although they're not the only ones to be to take into account. But science is an important aspect of our civilization, and I think science has to be mastered by some people, and I'm one of them.
Oh, I know what you mean. It's like I study history, and it's like there's a lot of pressure, isn't there, sometimes to like maintain the standard and do it right, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and I even would say that it's more difficult to be a good historian than to be a good engineer, because if you're a bad engineer, you just make an experiment, and if it fails, then you're not good. But if you're a historian, it's very difficult to really see if you're a good one. I mean, to assess it. It's harder to be, say, a good professional in humanities than in pure sciences. Okay,
that's interesting. Who inspires you the most?
Right now, because I'm inspired, continuously by different people, but right now it's naval. My daughter actually always sends me, links and podcasts of this guy, and I think he has quite interesting adages and sayings and wisdom, word of wisdom. I think it's very interesting because it applies to life as well, in general.
Okay. Interesting. We haven't had a podcaster yet. Like, we've had other teachers. We've had a lot of those. We've had some like popular culture figures, but we've never had podcasts. So that's really interesting. It's really nice.
I think it's it's a good tool today. Yeah, it's interesting. Yes, maybe on methodology and this kind of things. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit more detailed. It's a bit more detailed than
more focused. Yes.
Why is your subject important?
Well, they're important because I like them. This is why they're important. My subjects are important, but they're not the only ones to be important, as I said. They are the basics of our civilization, of industrial civilization, and now more and more our post-industrial civilization or society. Everything now is based on technology, as you know. Even if you're writing a novel, I mean, you can't skip technology. This is obvious. And technology is something that we have to, at least some of us, master. So it has its importance. It's not the only thing to be, to be focused on.
You were talking a bit before we came on here about how you find, even for engineers, there needs to be a broadening. So for a writer, let's say, like, well, a bit like me, I don't write, but you know what I mean. I would need to have at least a basic understanding of technology and science to get by, right? So even for engineers who are very specialized in science and technology, they would also, you were saying, need maybe to understand a bit about culture or the humanities or sociology to also be able to navigate what they do.
Yes, that's true. This is why during my studies, I actually set to myself a challenge, which was to read 1 hour per day of sociology, of sometimes of history, sometimes of economics, etc. Because I didn't want to be a dry-minded person on pure science. Because I remember I was afraid of being manipulated, so to say, by society. Because if you are actually focusing too much on one area, you are not going to have the overall vision of society. So people can use you, and you will not be able to understand the manipulation. That was my fear when I was young. I was a bit, I'd say, quite critical on that. So I didn't want to be kind of a robot. And I think it's somehow true that one must have also other skills, I wouldn't say, but be aware about other aspects of life, like, practicing some sport, be aware about overall politics, have, some vision of the past, knowing where we come from. And there's a saying, from Tuaregs who is an adage that says, if you want to know where you go, first try to know where you come from. And this is pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I really like that. I think it's nice when tutors come on here and they talk about having broad minds as well as their subject. I think most tutors do think that. So, but it's just interesting to hear it kind of maybe more affirmed, let's say.
Yeah.
In 3 words, describe your teaching style.
First is about being hands-on, and that doesn't mean I'm a plumber who is going to teach someone, pure sciences, STEM, etc. I'm an experienced engineer, so it means that I can actually teach things, theoretical things, with their context, of usage and where they come from and why we created those concepts. I mean, why the past scientists created that concept and not another one. So it's always good to really put in relation the theory and the usage of it, the actually the daily life, aspects. Another thing is the experience. I have a quite long experience on, using those technologies and those or the related technologies or the scientific concepts. These are the two main things I think. What else can I say? Be very systematic. So I have a tip. My main tip is you need to minimize the work you give to your brain in order to be more efficient. Most people would think the other way around. To be good at science, you would need, according to them, to be very intelligent, to push your brain to the limits, etc. I would say no. You have to break down. You have to chop it like a pig. When you have a problem to solve, and then you try to minimize your thinking. And this is the most efficient way. Or maybe get out of the box and say, oh, all this is trash. I'm going to see it another way with another angle. And this is, making things much easier to use, solve problems and and get into science, in fact. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you, Stan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for doing this. Okay.
Thank you, Nuala. Bye-bye. Bye.